So I want to introduce our guest because, I love to talk to people that have a lot to say and that help us to understand our minds. Rex Sikes is a friend, and he does the same thing I do. He's a hypnotist. He's a mentalist. He also has spent a great deal of the last many years, as I have, devoting people to train their brain and a new way of thinking to have a life that works. And I love that about him because we all kind of find each other. That's the thing. But this is for you because I thought that this interview was going to be something really that you will enjoy. He has a new book out right now. It's called Life on Your Own Terms. It is fantastic. And it's the kind of book that you can just read a little chunk of, at a time. You don't have to it's not dense. And we'll talk about that, meaning it's not dense, that when things are dense, we tend to go in a trance because your mind goes on overload, and then you don't learn the point of things. So that's what I loved about this book. So let's welcome actor. Yes, you may have seen him in many, many things. And author Rex Sikes. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. And it's such a thrill to be here and to be on your show. You've done so many incredible things in your life and with your career and your life and your dedication to helping people. So I am honored, I'm privileged, and delighted.
Well, thank you. It is so wonderful to talk to somebody that has also spent their entire life in an acting career. You're going to hear our animals, by the way, everybody, because this is real life stuff. And my rooster's right outside the door, and Rex has a dog right next to him. So there it is. Good morning, everyone. I love that you have not given up your acting career, but in fact, you have a movie coming out in October, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that you have also learned the art of hypnosis. You're a master hypnotist and you're a mentalist. And I am the same. So I really relate to you. And also I love using the arts to further and excite people's imaginations about just how much in control they actually are of that beautiful God-given gift we have called a mind. So your new book, Life on Your Own Terms. Mm-hmm. What is it that we'll talk about that, but you've written other books. You're also a NLP trainer. And for those of you who don't know what NLP is, it's neuro-linguistic programming. And I'm going to let Rex talk about that for a minute because he's actually an NLP expert and it's a fascinating subject. Tell us what neuro-linguistic programming is, because I don't think anybody out there really knows what that is.
Well, it's got a horrible name, frankly. I mean, nobody can figure out what neuro-linguistic programming is, but as it is sometimes described, neuro meaning brain, linguistic meaning language, and programming meaning you can change your behaviors using your brain and using your language, and you can also affect other people as well and be influential. It's about learning and about extracting skill and strategies and learning how to replicate the excellence that other people may be known for. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if I understand how Michael Jordan can jump high and shoot baskets, I can learn to shoot my personal best. Physically, I'm never going to jump as high as Michael Jordan. I don't have the equipment to do that. I'm not his height. I don't have his musculature, but I can learn the process that he did to maximize my own ability to jump. And that's true whether it's math, science, hypnosis, being able to influence other people, sell more, live a happy life, get over fears and phobias, and make all manner of changes by tuning into how you're using your brain and how you're using your language, which is an indication of how you're using your brain. In other words, we speak how we think.
Yes, so our audience is really used to me talking about brain training and about how we not only speak what we think, but when you speak, you're giving your mind direction, therefore you're giving your body a physical direction, and your neuroses and your pain, body pain, are manifested through your very thoughts.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what I love about this book, Life on Your Own Terms, that you have written, is that it's, like I said, it's a great book. You can see it's not going to overwhelm you. You can read it one chapter at a time, which is, really great, because I know, as much as I love to read, when I read something and the words are dense and the thoughts are dense, I tend to just go, oh, it's just too much for me. It's too much work. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And it actually is a neurological thing, because your brain gets tired of trying to figure something out and it shuts down.
Right.
So when you read your book, and I would like to just simply on the front, here's what it is, okay? And then I'm going to let Rex talk about this, because so amazing results. There you go. Perfect. And see, your camera is right. Mine is backwards. So there you go. Life on your own terms. Amazing results. Develop a champion mindset. That in itself, just learning how to do that, is huge. And it is so doable. Activate a winner's attitude. And I love the thought of you being a winner. I being a winner. Rex is a winner. You are a winner. And if you don't know that yet, you will know that by reading this book. You're already one. It's just, that's the first thought. And then the learning of it is because being that is a goal. And what does a winner mean to you, Rex, exactly?
Someone who knows how to get what they want in life without harming other people or preventing other people from getting what they want is a winner in my mind. They're able to go after their goals and dreams and make things happen and attract the right people and the right circumstances and the right events to them, but not by preventing anyone else from doing the same. And they are the kind of person who is happy when other people get ahead and succeed. Being actors back in the old Hollywood days, a lot of times you'd go on an interview and you'd see 20, 30, 40 other people who look exactly like you, and they all have the same kind of. And as a young actor, what I would do is I would go see a movie, that I had auditioned for, and somebody else got the part, and I would be so mad. I go, I could have done better. I should have had that part. That's not a winner. That's resentful. That's envious. That's all sorts of other things.
It's ego.
It's ego, and the true winner can say. And where I learned the most was I was cast as Mr. Roberts in the play, and we did the run of the play, and they had another play coming up, and they wanted to do arsenic and old lace, and I was like, yeah, I want to do the lead part, and they went, no, we actually had you in mind for somebody else, because you've done the lead. We'd rather have you do, how about the cop, at the end. And I was like, physically, I'm not this person. I can't do it. I don't think so. I don't want to spend 6 weeks, the whole thing. I went and saw the play. The guy that did the part, he owned the part. He was the part. I could not have even come close to the kind of performance he did. And that, to me, opened my eyes. I was so thrilled that he did such a good job that it changed my entire life. It really did. I'd see things that I auditioned for and somebody else got it. I go, oh my God, how incredible. So it's about waking up to the fact that other people, if you can give them praise, encouragement, recognition, if you can be thrilled about their success, you attract more success to yourself as well, because you're not sending out any negative vibes or any ego or anything like that. So
exactly. And it's all really about someone being in the mindset of competition, which personally I think is very strangulating to you. When you are thinking about competing with another person, then you're not wishing people well, you're wishing yourself well. And instead of competing with other people, I always turned it around, and I don't know if this is right. I'm just telling you how I wired it. But I would compete with myself, meaning all I have to do is show up and do my personal best. That's it. And I don't have to busy my mind with competition, which of course I think is a fear-based thinking. And judging, you're judging, and you don't even need to judge yourself. You just need to show up and do your best, no matter what we do in life. But as actors, that was really true for me.
Oh, fantastic! Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
So
learn as we go.
yes, and don't we all? That's the beauty of it.
Right.
So the next thing is live victoriously, which I just really love the sound of that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I wrote the book primarily because there are a lot of people, and I've been doing this for 40 years, like you have. We've been trying to help people live lives that they're happy with, and to be able to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish, and connect with the people that they want to connect with, so that by the end of their days, they're going, "Wow, this was a fun ride." And so, living victoriously means is to be able to claim your power back. And by power, I don't mean power again over others. I mean, we've already talked kind of win-win. I mean, to claim your power back for having an incredible life, to live victoriously, to not be a victim of circumstance or events or other people, to not blame, accuse, whine, make excuses, but to own it. Truman, the buck stops here is the way you live victoriously. When you are responsible for anything and everything that happens in your life, now, even if that's not accurate, in other words, a wind can come by, a storm can come by, a tree can fall. Maybe we're responsible for that, but maybe we're not. It doesn't matter. If I say, okay, I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life and the tree falls down, then I'm responsible to take care of it instead of whining and blaming and accusing somebody of it. Well, when it comes to our thoughts and our feelings, this is especially important, and it's even highlighted by the rooster. This is very cool. So, yes,
he's like saying, "Well said."
Yeah, living victoriously means having a champion mindset, a winner's attitude. Attitude is the number one predictor for success in life and in business, and especially in healing and health. Your attitude, the notion that your attitude determines your altitude, is truly an accurate scientific peg you can hang your hat on. You can swear by it. So you have the right attitude, the right heart set, the right mindset, and you're no longer a victim of circumstances, but you're creating circumstances, which means if it doesn't go the way you want, you adjust yourself and keep on going. You make adjustments, you learn, you continue, and you improve, as opposed to getting what a lot of people do. They get stuck, they get mad, they get angry, they blame, they whine,
We see a lot of this on Facebook because everyone's writing every thought they have down. And so when even before the politics and everything had started, this incredible anger, even before that, I used to look at people's Facebook, the feed that would come up, and I would see people talking about things in their life that was going on. And sometimes, it was really disastrous stuff or just negative feelings. And I thought, isn't that interesting that they feel the need to publicly share this? But I'm okay with that. But there was no, like, what can I do for myself? Has anyone been through this? Can you give me some advice? And it was just victim, victim, victim. And, listen, I'm not judging that. What I'm saying is we don't have to be victims. And that's why I love this book, because it teaches you how to get off the fear and get on to the progress. Like, okay, I feel terrible. I'm angry. I'm negative. I know it. I want to get rid of that because I need to move on now and go forward. And how do I do that? And this book is really so great for teaching people how to retrain their brain the way they think and get out of a victim mode, which, listen, it's real easy to get in that. No one teaches us how to train our brain in school. If we had programs that taught us how to deal with life, with heartbreak, with setbacks, and how to look at those things, and I always think that that is true, that things don't happen to us, they happen for us.
Right.
You'll never know the bad you missed. And so, the things that happen to us that we take poorly and don't know what to do with, you must understand that there's a reason things happen. And even though it may be years before we see it, to understand it, to have faith that that's true. You agree with that?
I absolutely do. I always try and tell people, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what you believe. As long as you believe in yourself and that you can accomplish the things that you want, that's a good belief to have. I don't care if people think they're in control of the world or they or if that's true or not true. It's what I like to refer to, as I'm sure you do. It's a useful premise. It's a useful lie. It's a reframe. It's a way of setting your mind so that regardless of what's going on, you can function. And that's so some people, when they get into the blaming, whether they're blaming the government or they're blaming God or religion or their spouse or their children or their lack of an education or too much education or not enough money or this and the other thing, they forget that all of those reasons may or may not be the case either. It's the one that they're hanging their hat on, and or they're banking on. And if you take all those reasons away, they're still left, with not feeling good. So the question is how do you change that regardless of what's happening? How do you make yourself, vibrant, a victor, a champion? I think of it like this, Game of Thrones logic, bring me your best swordsman and I will defeat that swordsman, as opposed to, and I want to live that way. And by that, I don't mean a competition with anybody, but you understand the attitude is.
Oh no, that you are a victor is just what you said. And as Joel Osteen, who is a beautiful speaker, and he says, be a victor, not a victim.
Yep.
And I love that because it's something we actually are in control of.
Right.
So one of the things that also you wrote about is freeing yourself of limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what most of us are. You might hear my husband come in on the loudspeaker because I forgot to tell him I'm doing an interview. But the freeing yourself of limiting beliefs, we learned limiting beliefs, right? We learn those. We aren't born with that.
Right.
And so when you say freeing yourself of limiting beliefs, it is simply, again, what you said, reframing your thoughts and your belief structure. So all of that is able to be overcome because it is something that we do learn. So the beautiful news is that everything, as Leo Biscaglia said, everything is that you learn can be unlearned and relearned. And I learned that at a really early age because those are the books I was reading when I was 10, 11, 12. And so let me talk to you a little bit about why also people procrastinate, because I think that a lot of us, especially during the time of COVID when we're really stressed, and so you start something and you get distracted and you don't finish that, and then you start something else and then you don't finish that, and before you know it, you're so overwhelmed you feel like you're walking in quicksand. So talk to us for a minute about procrastination and why that can be overcome.
Well, there's plenty of different reasons why people procrastinate, and the answer doesn't lie in the reasons for it so much as what you can do about it. And one of the ways that you can do it, when I wrote the book, I wanted to make it simple. I wanted to have it conversational in my voice, so it wasn't a dense, difficult read. It was somebody whispering in your ear. And it was to be a gentle reminder. It was to have simple concepts and principles that would remind you what to do when things are going well or when things aren't going so well. When it comes to procrastination, one of the things, let's go with this. The overall concept is to live as a winner. So imagine life as a game, and you're playing the game, and you want to play it really well. And most people want to win the game. And so how you win the game is since it's your game, it's your life, you get to make the rules. And if you make the rules, make the rule that you always win, no matter what you do. And one of the ways that you can do that is, some people procrastinate because the deadline is looming, or the task is too big, or they're not interested in it, or any of those kinds of things. What you can do is in the same way that you don't go to a buffet table and grab all the food and shove it into your face and then be done with it. You sample things, you taste things, you try things, you find the things that you like, and you do those. One of the things that you can do is to take whatever task you have that you're avoiding and chunk it down very, very tiny. Chunk it down so that no matter what part of it you do, you win. You get to feel good. So, for example, I might need to clean my house, but cleaning my house is a big task. There's lots of rooms. There's lots of space. So I say, well, I'll start with the garage. Well, even the garage is too big. I don't want to go to the garage. But if I say I will clean this corner of the garage, or I will clean the entranceway, or I will take this and I will start doing it, what happens for people is they think that motivation, that they have to wait until they feel motivation. And this just is not true. Muhammad Ali, and I write about him in the book, said, I don't feel like training. The last thing on earth is I want to get out and run behind some car when it's cold and wet and damp. I don't want to do that. I know I have to do that if I want to be a champion. So I'm willing to sacrifice today's comfort for the rewards of being a champion. But I don't always feel like it. And somehow, through years of psychology on television and self-help books, we get this idea that, well, if you don't feel it, then it isn't valid and you shouldn't do it. You don't have to feel like you want to clean the garage. That if you wait for that, you're probably never going to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to clean my garage, but sometimes it needs it. So the point being is, if I go in and I start to clean it and I do a little corner, I end up feeling good. I go, well, look what I did. I got that done. So then I do a little bit the next day or the next day or the next day, so that every time I do it, I win and I feel good about doing it. And every time I feel good about doing it, that's like an anchor. That's something I can hang all my good feelings on. And so I progressively get it done by chunking it small enough to keep winning while doing it. Maybe you want to clean your desk, so you straighten your pens out, you stick them in a pen jar, you clean out a desk drawer. You don't do everything at one time. You do it in stages where you get to feel good along the way. And motivation brings motivation. So the more you do and the more you win, the more you feel like doing and the more you feel like winning.
And that is really true. And you can look at the garage, actually, or the desk as your life. It's a metaphor. I mean, it's real. You do need to clean your desk, get organized, clean
right.
your garage, so every time you drive in it, you don't think, oh my God, this looks like Sanford and Son. And so, the desk and the garage are a great metaphor for our lives. And I always say that when you look at somebody's desk, or you look in somebody's car in particular, you are looking at the inside of their mind.
Absolutely.
And so if you see disorganization and chaos inside somebody's car, you can be sure that that's going on in their mind as well. And I know a lot of Fortune 500 company owners that, of course, what they require of their people, because they're going to be delegating authority, is that they have an organized mind. I know one that actually walks people he interviews for an important job to their car at the end of the interview, because he wants to see what the inside of their car looks like, because no matter how good they were in the interview, to him, that's a great indicator. So I love that story, because what we're talking about is that. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. I am so sorry. I need to turn everything off. This can be edited, Rex, so we're not going to worry about that. But here's the problem. I lost you. There, you're back. All that will be edited out. Okay, so, before I go on with this, because I think everyone's going to really relate to what we are offering here, in this great book you've written. It is great. I love it because it's little bites that you can digest, and it's not, like I said, it's not dense. It's deep, but it's not dense, and it's not overwhelming. But before we talk about that, any more about the things that have really made me want people to know what this is about, you, like myself, you're an actor, and you've been acting for 40 years. We all started out at the same time, I think. You're great friends with Kin Shriner, and those were our early days. Kin starting out on General Hospital. I started out, on Texas and Another World. You came to New York, I think, to see Kin, and that's where I met you.
Yeah.
But you yourself have had you've been a working actor for the last 40 years. So you actually are still acting. And I want to show a few clips while we talk. So let me know, how did you shift from acting to this NLP, mentalism, hypnotism, and teaching people how to train their brain. What made that happen?
It's a long, convoluted trail. My parents put me into dancing class when I was about 2 or 3 years old. I did dancing and acrobatics, and I took acting lessons starting when I was 4. Not with the idea that I would ever have anything to do with the arts in any way, but just to be a better or well-rounded person by having been exposed to them. And I loved performing. I loved doing the acrobatics. I loved doing the acting, and so I, at a very early age, said, "This is what I want to do the rest of my life." By the time I was 7 or 8 years old, I was also raised Catholic, and I thought, "Oh, it's, what a mystical thing! You know, these priests have this weird connection with God, and I would love to be a priest." So I would get my mom to read me, like the Bhagavad Gita and different, religious books, or Khalil Gibran, when I couldn't really read or understand them, at 6, 7, 8 years old. And by the time I was 11, I was practicing hypnotist. I studied hypnosis and read and sought out hypnotists and Henry Lamont, if you remember Henry Lamont. And I worked with Pat Collins for many years. And so I had always had these two things. One was acting, and one was the mystical connection, enlightenment, spirituality, the powers of the mind. I read Napoleon Hill when I was around 11 years old.
My favorite.
Yeah, me too. And so they've been parallel paths, and the when I started really as a professional actor in my late teens, in 17, 18, 19, in that area, with like Ken and the other people and other friends of ours, I kind of let that take over. I didn't pursue the spirituality as much. I didn't pursue the mind stuff. I really concentrated on the acting thing, and I was a horrible candidate for an actor. I loved acting. I just didn't like the process of auditioning or being an actor. I didn't know what to do most of the time if I wasn't auditioning or working. I didn't enjoy life. Hated weekends and holidays because it kept me from doing movies and making movies, and I didn't want to do crewing and work behind the scenes. I only wanted to be in front of the camera. It was very ego driven. I have to do this. I must succeed by the time I'm 25, or I'm a schlep. And I didn't. I mean, I had some career success, and then some things happened, and I ended up going skydiving and injuring my back. And in order to conceal the injury from the girlfriend at the time, who didn't want me going skydiving because I was going skydiving with another woman friend, in order to conceal the injury, I went to a doctor because I was in a lot of pain, and he gave me what amounted to was a fatal combination of 2 pills, and I should have died, and I didn't. But I continued to take. I took the drugs. I actually, in his office, said, "Can I take these now?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." He gave me a little sample cup and some water and let me take them. I went to pick up my sister in Hollywood, who was working for Daytimers magazine, and she said, "You were a completely different person." She said, "I was terrified to drive. I had no idea who I was with." So it led to a year and a half of me just spiraling down further and further and further. I blew my career. I lost a girlfriend. I lost many of my friends. I was very confused. I started drinking and doing other drugs. People would give me all sorts of other things because they're like, "You're not yourself." And most of my friends just got afraid of who I was. They didn't know what had happened, thought I had some kind of mental break. I didn't know what had happened.
So I feel this is because of the painkillers that the doctor put you on.
The combination of them was considered fatal. I mean, I should have died, and I should have been at the very least in a coma. And
but the painkillers, actually, if you stay on painkillers, especially anything that is like an oxy something, anything that's an opiate, completely changes a person's personality. But I believe the person taking them doesn't realize that. Is that true?
No, I had no idea. I mean, I would take the pills, and not. I mean, I to this day look back and go, I don't know how I knew to take the pills, but I would take the pills and then didn't know anything else. I mean, I would sleep in parks, on the streets. I kept passed out in different places. I nearly put my car over a cliff. I ultimately jumped out of a 2-story window trying to kill myself. I mean, I had no clue. And while that was going on, people were saying, "Well, here, have a Darvon. Here, have a Quaalude. Here, have some cocaine. Here, have some alcohol. You need something to change whatever's going on in you. So people were plying me with more stuff, and I found afterwards. I found a stack of journals that I had written in that were just scribbles. You couldn't read anything. It was unintelligible scribbles, page after page of filled scribbles, you know. But I did almost end up comatose, and my sister called my parents and said something's really going wrong with Rex. You need to get here, and they found me nearly comatose, and they locked me in the apartment, and they took away the keys and took the distributor cap off my car, and that's when I later jumped out the window on my head, and so what happened was. They were trying to decide whether to put me in an institution. They didn't know what had happened. They didn't know what was going on. They knew they could see me surrounded by pill bottles and alcohol and stuff. And so they locked me in, and I went cold turkey while I was locked in this apartment. And when I was withdrawing from the drugs, I started to go, oh my God, what's been going on for these past few months? I had no memory of it. I had amnesia for all of it. Drug-induced amnesia. I didn't know. And so I tried to go out and then see people who I thought were my friends, and they were like, "Get away from me! I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't harm anybody. The only person I harmed was me."
Yeah.
But they thought I'd had a psychotic break, and so they were like. Anyway, to shorten this all up, the bottom line was that at a certain point, 18 months later, I went, I can't live like this. I don't know what's going on. So I decided I would lock myself in my apartment, and I would go back into using hypnosis and affirmations and all the things I knew as a kid to try and claim my life back. And I vowed that I would not leave this apartment or this chair, an easy chair, until I could do that. And I stayed in the apartment essentially 6 weeks. Yes, I got up and had a sandwich. I went to the bathroom, things like that. But I didn't go anywhere. I sat in the chair day in, day out, hypnotizing myself and affirming. And that's when I discovered much of what I write about in the book in terms of claiming your life back and how one can do that. I had, other people have lived far harder or worse or had, terrible things happen to them. I had a terrible thing happen to me. And what I learned was at first, I was angry, and I was like, why did this happen? And blamed God, blamed the world, blamed the universe, blamed others, blamed the doctors, wanted to sue everybody, And when I emerged from my apartment, I realized it was up to me to take control of my life and to live my life. And if I were going to be successful in any way, I had to change what I was doing. And it led me to ask different questions. For example, I say, why did this happen to me? I realized that all I got in that, when I asked that question, was a lot of answers of where I was wrong or broken or whose fault it was. When I started to ask questions like, what can I do to make a difference in my life? How can I begin to live more confidently? What do I have to do to feel good? Then I started getting answers that were useful, that directed me, in a way that I could then begin to act on those things. And this is why managing your mindset is so important, because your mind, what you're focused on, what you're thinking about, what you're compulsed over, what absorbs your attention determines how you feel, and how you feel then determines what you think about. So it becomes this loop where you can just spiral down into devastation and despair, which I had done, and many do. But if you change your mindset so that now your mindset, instead of being negative and fearful and worried and hateful and angry and frustrated and all those kinds of things, and start thinking in terms of what's good and what's right and what's positive and what you could do and how it might be different and things like that, you then begin to feel a bit better. And when you feel better, that can spiral up into more positivity. And how you think determines how you feel determines how you act and what you do. So I'm in a place where I couldn't go and face the world because I was very negative and fearful and afraid, and I lacked confidence and blamed myself and blamed the world. When I started to transform that within me, I could then see how I could now feel better, and now I could begin to think that now I can go out and I can begin to win my friends back. I can go back and have a career. I can begin to live life successfully. So thoughts lead to feelings, the feeling leads to actions, and the actions that you take lead to the results that you get. Mm-hmm. So that and another important part about that is what you say. I have a saying, and I put it in the book: speak only to bless, heal, prosper, motivate, inspire, and transform. In other words, if you complain, what you're doing is your mind is focused on the negative, and then you're expressing it. So you're making a declaration or you're making an assertion about how things are whenever you complain or blame or excuse or whine or, or angry. And so I said, I'm not going to talk. It's not about talking in a therapeutic way, but I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to only talk about the things that I can notice that are good. So it's shifting. I've lived my life ever since this, and this is the way I describe it. There's dog crap and diamonds in each hand. You get dog crap or diamonds, your choice. What do you want? And a lot of people choose dog crap, and they rub it all over themselves. They bask in it. They do the whole, woe is me, when there's diamonds. So it's a choice every moment. And so every moment I had to learn, I either choose dog crap or I choose diamonds. I choose dog crap or choose diamonds. And this is part of why the book works so well for people, because if you remember dog crap or diamonds, you've got a choice right there. If something happens in your life, go dog crap or diamonds, you know what to choose. It's these little kind of memory pegs that help people, along the way. So when it comes to limiting beliefs, so we were talking about before, to say there's such a thing as a limiting belief, like you have to get rid of your limiting beliefs before you can move forward, that in and of itself is a limiting belief.
Interesting. Now, why do you say that? That is because
I say I have to get rid of something in order.
The logical mind, so you have to speak to the other mind.
Well, I say two things. In chapter 3, I say there's no such thing as self-sabotage. And the other thing is if you think you have to get over your limiting beliefs in order to move forward, that is a limiting belief. Beliefs are not gospel. In other words, they don't hang out there in the world like, empirical, they're right or wrong. They're what you believe. And Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're correct.
I've always loved that quote.
Yeah, so the point is, it's what you're thinking is determining what you're accomplishing or how you're feeling. So if you think you can do something, then maybe you will. If you think you can't do something, it's likely you won't. Mm-hmm. In order to do what you won't do, you have to change your thinking to make it possible, to make it inviting, to make it. So even the notion of a limiting belief, to say, I got to get rid of my limiting beliefs. If you believe that you are filled with limiting beliefs, well, it's great if you then take them apart and change them. But if you stop there and go, there are reasons why I can't do things, you won't do them. And what I try and tell people is, people talk about sabotage, and a lot of it's marketing. You want to do something, but you sabotage yourself. We don't sabotage ourselves. There's nothing in our being that sabotages us. That's a description of a process that is normal. Our brains only say yes. They can't say no. Our brain only says yes. It can only, if you say, don't think of a blue elephant, you go too late, you thought of the blue elephant, your brain doesn't process the negative. It only processes the positive. Think of a blue elephant. Okay. Don't think of a blue elephant. The result is the same. Doesn't matter, because the negative drops out to the brain. So you say, don't be worried. You're saying, be worried.
Right, because the brain, actually the word don't is magically erased. So when you want your kids to stop doing something, the word don't, when they say don't do that, or don't whine, or don't, be sure you're going to get more of what you're telling them, because the word don't actually is a funny thing that disappears from the brain. And so they're being actually told to do,
yep,
whine, be lazy, you know what I mean? Like, because the word don't, actually we delete it in some strange way.
I mean, think of it, don't fall. What are you telling them to do? You're going to fall. So, if that were the case, you want to say fall backwards if they were going to fall, something, or fall to the side, sit down. Adults understand this. We overwrite some of this, but I'll give you an example. My girlfriend and I, doing an NLP seminar many, many years ago, there was a kitchen to the offset of the seminar room, and we were cleaning up, and one of the participants, a friend of mine, came in and said to her, "Don't forget your watch." She said, "Okay, I won't." We left. We got back to where we were staying. She said, "Oh my God, I forgot my watch." So we had to go back to the place and retrieve her watch. Now, how do you combat that? You say, I say, if you say, "Don't forget your watch," and you realize it, you can always say, remember to take it with you.
Absolutely. The word remember is so important when you're giving someone a suggestion or a directive. So that this is the kind of thing that you're going to be reading, and if you hold your book up,
Life on Your Terms.
Life on Your Terms by Rex Sikes. This book is life changing, and Rex. While I have you here, I want to say that we, not during COVID, of course, but we have a lot of seminars here. We have one theater which we shoot our talk show in, so you've seen that, and we just have the stage decorated for what we're doing now. We're building a second theater right next to it, wow. And it's going to be, because I want this to be not only an entertainment center, but I want this to be a place where people come to brain train, heal, empower themselves, and I want to continue doing that. I've been doing this for about 6 years here, but I'd love you to come and be a speaker here, because I think that I meet a lot of people, but I think that you really get brain training and you really get how to teach this without overwhelming. But if any of you out there really want to learn how to do these things, you need to get Life on Your Terms by Rex Sikes. Is it available on Amazon?
Yeah, they can get it on Amazon as a book or the Kindle. They can get it there. They can get it from if they go to my website, they click on a link on my website and they'll go to Amazon and get the book.
Right.
But going back just a bit, I wrote it to be easy. Changing can be easy and it can be fun, and it should never be anything that people feel daunted by. And so what I attempt to do in the book is to go through the process of change, how you can easily do it, how you can have fun doing it, and how you can do it in these winning steps so that you're not overwhelmed. Transformation happens in two ways. One, it usually happens through calamity or tragedy or something. This is where people look back and go, like me, I look back on my life and go, I died then. I mean, I didn't physically die, but I died to that person, and I emerged like a phoenix in a new way. And I took responsibility, and I changed my attitude and my mindset, and I changed how I felt, and was able to then take the right actions to get the kind of results to claim my life back and to live life on my terms. And if I can do that, and I am not special in any way, I mean, I can be a lot slower than a lot of people and a lot thicker. And if I can do that, that you and anyone listening and watching right now can do that. And the other way to change is how Arnold Schwarzenegger got his body.
And how's that?
And is to condition yourself for success. In other words, you don't walk into a gym and pick up the heaviest dumbbell you can, lift it up once and go, ugh, and be done. You know that you have to do continual exercise, the right kind of exercise, eat the right amount, sleep the right amount over a period of time consistently, and you will sculpt your body similarly to how Arnold or anyone else has done. So success and happiness can be a conditioning process, but first and foremost, you have to go first.
Right.
People, happiness, it's always elusive. If you learn how to be happy now with who you are, because you have everything inside you need to be happy, successful, loving, kind, confident, secure, you have all the resources within you. They just may not seem obvious because of the limiting beliefs or the conditioning from the childhood that you mentioned. So it's a relearning.
Yeah.
A re-educating yourself that, hey, you know what? I can do this. I can be happy. I can be successful. I can have an incredible life. And not only but I can help other people do that too.
Well, as I mentioned, unlearning and relearning is the trick and the key. But here is the thing. We've talked and touched upon a lot of really great things. But again, no one has taught you this. So that's why we write books. That's why we do this, because it's our passion to teach you how to do it. And that's why I love your book, Rex. I love it, love it, love it, because it's written so beautifully and simply for
Thank
everyone. And before we go, I just want to mention that you have a movie coming out, coming out October 11th with Mike.
Well, I don't know the date that it's
Oh,
coming.
sorry, I don't know why that date popped up. In October. How about that?
So I've been told it was coming out in October this year.
Before the end of the year.
Yes.
Because right now, with everything the way it is,
And let me give you a shout out because you mentioned it's called Shooting Star. The director is Michael Pfeiffer. Michael is a very prolific director, both for features and television. And Peter Shireko is a dear friend. I've known him many years, and it's an inspiring story. It's about a little girl whose sister gets injured, and this is back in the days of the West, and the Colt Pistol is going to have a competition, and she's been brought up to sharpshoot on horseback, and that's what the competition is. So she wants to win the competition to raise money so that her sister can get a needed operation to get some help for her injuries, and a corrupt sheriff and a corrupt mayor, played by corrupt sheriff is Michael Paré, and the corrupt mayor is Peter Shireko. Want to take the money for themselves, and I'm the town activist who comes out against them and agitates the people, and I won't tell you more about that, but it was a fun movie, and great people, and I made so many friends, and we're all in touch, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I'm excited for that movie to come out. We are actually in October, so
Yeah.
it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that we are 2 weeks away from November.
Really?
But everyone that's watching this interview, they're loyal to the show. They love anything that we can do to help them during this time, which is a great time to learn about retraining our brain and having the life we want. So thank you so much, Rex, for being a great interview.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. If you don't mind, one of the pointers to my website, which is Idea Seminars, is nlponline.com. nlponline.com. So they can get the book, they can find the book there, or they can go to Amazon. It also has courses and programs and positive tools for transformation if they're so inclined and they're interested. A lot of people doing the programs and in groups, and they're ongoing, they're online. It's wonderful.
So we'll, of course, put this on a Chiron, but say one more time that website for everyone.
nlponline.com. NLP, like now let's party, online.com, all one word.
That's so great. It's actually a lot more fun than trying to memorize neuro-linguistic programming.
It is indeed.
So have a great day. Have a great week, a great month, year, and life, Rex. I look forward to seeing you when all this is over. I look forward to seeing anybody when this is over.
We'll have a big party in your neck of the woods then, and invite all sorts of people to come and transform their lives.
We'll get Ken Schreiner here. We'll get them all here. Have a wonderful, wonderful life, and I'll see you soon. And thank you for caring about everyone enough to share what you so what you went through so much to learn, and you were already on the path, and what happened to you actually, as I said before, happened for you, and you ended up being such an incredible speaker and writer of the nature of this. So thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
I hope to see you soon too, and it was a wonderful sharing time with you here. Thank you for the opportunity, and as I said, if I can do it, anyone can do it, and so do it.
And so do it. It's exactly right. It's an amazing thing to be able to change your life by simply changing your mind. And it is a process of learning how to do that. Easy to say, actually easy to learn. You just need a really good teacher, right?
Indeed.
Thank you.